Today we will go through this 1 million wave lightning and CloudNacho gold build. So 1 million waves, completely free to play. Done. I created this new lightning and CloudNacho account at the beginning of this year in January and completed some 125,000 waves in the first 30 days. And now in early July it has finally reached the grand milestone of reaching 1 million waves. In addition to reaching that, I have also completed all the gold P1 units, meaning that every unit in the game that can be leveled with gold is now level 10,000 or higher. And with this, I now have 147 skill points available for me to use for this account. My infinite colony defense is over 10 million and I have finally started to seriously hunt the bone dragon, and I have currently done around 12,000 defense against the bone dragon. And now you're asking, how much money was spent to reach all of this? The answer: zero. So in this video we will go through this lightning and CloudNacho gold build you can see in here in detail. I will show you all the item upgrades I have gotten so far for this build. I will show you the skill tree and I will go through some hero decisions we have in here with some alternative options. Also we will discuss a little bit on how to continue from this point towards late game, and also of course what does the future look like for CloudNacho. Right now I'm running Devil Horn 3 in here, as you can see from the core skip text next to the wave level, and I have the 3 gold heroes in here, and currently I'm running 2 gold treasures. So your treasure section should look something like this for this setup. The last treasure slot kinda depends on you. Ultimately you wanna be able to run the horn, so if you can handle the horn then use that in the last slot, but if you need more survivability then go with the power cloud. The build will be profitable with just the 2 gold treasures as well. And if you're somewhere in between those 2 stages, then you can use either bronze piece or iron wheel depending on your infinite colony ratio. But if you have really high infinite colony then go for the iron wheel, and otherwise go for the bronze piece. But most importantly right now, the build is stable, it is profitable, so I'm really satisfied with the progress so far. And you might spot there has been some changes since the last time if you have been following this account journey, so let's start by going through those right now. And you can also find all the previous parts and a lot more information linked in the description, so please use them to your own advantage to boost your own journey in this game. First of all, here are my ratios and levels currently on this account at 1 million waves. As you might spot, some hero levels might be slightly lower than what you maybe want to be running eventually, and that's because when you're leveling all your gold heroes to level 10,000, that costs you enormous amounts of gold. So naturally your some units ratios might drop at this point a little bit, but you can then continue building them up once you are done with the gold heroes. However, I have been able to increase my CloudNacho ratio a little bit above the minimum recommendation, and if you can do that, that's pretty much always going to be beneficial for you at this point of the game, at how the game currently is in this stage, because CloudNachos are basically the best unit in the game. So if you have extra gold available, putting them in CloudNachos is a great idea. So let's go through the build. So this is the gold build that you just saw in action. Let's begin by going through the battle analysis so you can see who is doing and how much damage in this build currently. As you can see, since well, CloudNachos, they are strong currently in the game and they are the highest ratio unit I currently have. They are doing most of the damage throughout the waves, and the rest are doing what you can see in here. And especially if we go and take a look at the damage done against bosses, you will see there will be a lot of variation between different waves in here. So for example, in here you can see Dark Lightning Archer out damaging everyone in this particular wave. And if we go to the next one, then we can see CloudNachos again taking the #1 spot against bosses for this wave. And in here we can see Thor doing a lot more damage than Dark Lightning Archer for this one, and so on. So there's a lot of variation between different waves, but they're all pretty decent boss damage, so that also kind of helps. They are all somewhat capable of killing the bosses, so that's a neat part about the build. And that's the analysis. I currently have 6 cooldown skill level +1 lines, so CDE lines for this build. That's what I have been able to get. I will show you all the items right now, and I have a couple of others as well. But mainly the cooldown skill level +1 lines are the most important thing, because that will make your build stronger the more you can stack on those. But let's start going through every item one by one, so let's start from the top. In here I have a bonus gold skill level +1 line, and that's mainly because I haven't been able to get a sword with a cooldown skill level +1 line yet. So once I get a sword with a cooldown skill level +1 line, I will replace this bonus gold skill level +1 line sword with it, because cooldown skill level +1 line is much more important. And for the orb, I'm using the cursed orb on Military Band because he can use that orb actually in your builds. And for the Orc Band, In here, it's kind of the same thing. I haven't been able to get a hammer with the CDE line, so I have a hero damage skill level +1 line here for a slight damage boost. And in here, I have a CDE line. So again, once I get a cooldown skill level +1 line hammer, then I will replace the hero damage skill level +1 line hammer with that one. For Alchemist, I was able to get this one from Bone Dragon, so cooldown skill level +1 line staff with a single cooldown line. Now, percentual cooldown lines would be better for Alchemist, but since this is the first stuff I've been able to get so far, and Alchemist is the only hero currently I can use this in the build, it's in here. In future, it can fit in my Necromancer's staff slot when I get my Pure Wizard's cooldown to be low enough, but I'm not there yet, so temporarily it will be on Alchemist. And for the accessory, I have, well, bonus gold again in here with a 1 cooldown line as well. Double cooldown would be preferred, but since that's what I've been able to get so far, I have a couple of bonus gold skill levels in here. Again, this will be replaced with a CDE item in the future as I can get more of those. Then on Necromancer, I have a double cooldown staff in here, and a double cooldown accessory with a damage skill level +1 line. Damage skill level +1 line is just free damage. Of course, cooldown skill level +1 line would again be preferred in here as well. But this is what I have, and this makes my Dark Necromancer's cooldown to be 9.08, which is lower than Pure Wizard's cooldown, which is 9.69. Nice. So it's on double proccing range, which you still want to do at this point. Once you get to a later game and you start going through your the boss Devil Horn 4, for example, and you can get your Pure Wizard cooldown to like 8 seconds or lower, then you can start not double proccing Necromancer anymore. But at this point, it's still beneficial to have the cooldown lower than Pure Wizard's cooldown. So in here I have, well, this is otherwise a great staff, but it's a little unfortunate how low this flat cooldown roll is in here. It would really be beneficial on reducing the cooldown on my Pure Wizard if I had a little bit better staff. On the other hand, this accessory is really nice. It's really close to be a max L tier accessory for Pure Wizard, so I'm really happy, really satisfied with these items on my Pure Wizard as of right now. Then we have someone new to the build since last time, so I replaced Dark Ice Wizard with Angels. Well, just to check how they do at this wave level, and they seem to be working quite decently, I would say. They are on double proccing range, and they are set to target the boss monsters with the teleport promotion so that they can instantly be teleporting around the battlefield. And what I have in here is just double cooldown items on both items, and attack speed is the second best line you can get for Angels, because most of their damage will be coming from the static orb. So that attack speed line is more important than this damage line in here. The most important thing is the double cooldown line so that I can get the cooldown to be lower than Pure Wizard. But because we do most of our damage through this static orb, that means we only need to stack up on attack speed for the Angels, because they will always deal the same amount of damage through this orb no matter what their actual level or damage is. And they deal a decent amount of boss damage. It really depends a little bit on wave by wave. Here is 18%, as you can see. Here is 16%, 11%, 12%, 12% again, and so on, 13%. It really varies a little bit wave by wave, but I think it works quite decently for this wave level as well, and especially it fits quite well to the lightning theme, the lightning Town Archer build, to have a lightning Angels in here instead of Ice Wizard. But if you need more survivability, I would recommend still trying the Dark Ice Wizard. It's one of the best crowd control units in the game, but I'm currently trying this and it's working quite well for this wave level, I would say. In here we have then Slingers, who will also buff Angels with their passive attack speed boost, so that's also anything. But Slingers are in here for crowd control. So in here I have one cooldown line to make their cooldown to be a little bit more nicely in sync with Pure Wizard. And then I have stun chance and slow in here. And that one stun line plus one summon unit is not a terrible line either. I would rather have double stun though. But this is a CD item that I previously used on my Dorothy before I started using Slingers, so it just kinda came in here. And as you can see, they are both still missing runes, so I need to put some attack speed runes on these items ASAP basically, because that's just free crowd control boost for the wave setup. And the Orb of Agility in here. If I cannot run this in the future, then I will use the physical orb in this orb slot, but for now I can use the Agility orb on my Slingers for more attack speed. And next up we have, well, Dark Hunter. who used to have a double cooldown bow, but I was able to get a cooldown skill level +1 bow. So unfortunately, this one doesn't have any cooldown lines, but on Dark Hunter, it's fine for the wave build. So this gives me one more CDE line for the setup. In here, I do have a double cooldown accessory on him. Eventually, you will be able to drop Hunter once you get a low enough cooldown for your pure wizard, so you can only make use of the haste buff from the Town Archers, so you can keep your haste buff up and running with just from the Town Archers, but 9.69 is not low enough for that yet, so you still need Hunter for your build. But eventually he can be dropped. That will make you have one more slot available for your build, but right now you still need him. Next to him we have Dark Skeleton, of course, to also boost the Town Archers. And in here, double cooldown. This is an ugly item with the mimic chance, but it's a really nice double cooldown bow, which really helped me to get the double proccing range for the Dark Skeleton, which also helps at this point to have the buff running a little bit more throughout the wave. So that's a damage boost for your Town Archers. And in here, I just have a single flat cooldown line with some defense skill level +1 line. So again, this will be hopefully replaced with a cooldown skill level +1 line in near future. But right now, that is enough to get me in the double proc range for Dark Skeleton as well. On Chrono, I have, well, double cooldown hammer in here. Again, I would rather replace this one with the cooldown skill level +1 line, but Archer speed is, well, it's a slight boost. I'll take it for now. And also, percentual cooldown lines, like in here, would be better for Chrono, but since it's the second only double cooldown hammer that I have, and it has a flat roll, well, it's fine. It works for now. And MP cost also helps me a little bit. This could also use maybe some MP cost reduction rooms as well, but again, I hope to be able to replace both of them eventually with cooldown skill level +1 lines. That requires a lot of farming, but yeah, it's a work in progress. Then we have Zeus. This hammer, if you have been following this journey, you have seen before. This is the same hammer I have had for a long time. Because of this cooldown line, I don't need to place my Zeus next to Pure Wizard, and I can still have the max cooldown for the Thunderbolts, for example, so that's really neat. And then on the accessory, this is also the same one. I have been running this for a while. Double critical damage with the CDE line, 1 boss damage room. This is a really solid as well. Even though the gold per hit is useless, it's still 2 very good lines and a CDE line. So yeah, that's enough for now. I have a 21% crit chance Orb of Luck on my Zeus currently in here. And the final hero from the build is the Dark Lightning Archer, who is slightly higher level than Zeus for now, because I was mainly pumping her for Bone Dragon purposes to make my kill time a little bit faster. So that's the reason she's on a slightly higher ratio than Zeus. You can kind of keep them on equal terms as well. But yeah, that works pretty well. This is the same bow still that I have been using previously. Unfortunately, physical damage is useless for Dark Lightning Archer, but it's been working for now. Again, eventually I wanted an E item with the cooldown skill level line, but that's working for now. On the other hand, I was able to get this one quite recently, and I must say this is a beautiful, even though it's not the CDE, double critical lines and boss damage with bonus gold, which still at least does something, is a really solid thing. This will be useful on Dark Lightning Archer, and it will be useful in my future builds as well for sure, because this item line combination is very, very beautiful. The critical orb is currently 78.6%, so at some point I will start working on these and getting them a little bit on a higher roll, but that works for now. So that's all the heroes on the build. Then, well, Thor as a leader is, well, these are the same items as previously. They are really decent L-level items for Thor. Chain Lightning items with attack speed runes. This is missing the second one, but at this point I'm not going to be placing it on it, because I'm probably going to be replacing Thor from this account soon. But if you keep on running Thor, then definitely double rune that item as well. And 40% attack speed on the Lightning Orb is also just in the middle, so I want to keep on rerolling this in the future as well to become a little bit closer to 50% as well. But yep, that's also a work in progress. My Death Worm currently just have some S tier items I threw on it at some point to give me a little bit more mana boost. Mana is not really an issue, and this, on the other hand, this Poison Orb is really beautiful. 25% is the max, and it's 24.6, so I will probably never need to touch to this Poison Orb. So that's at least a great thing. So I have a couple of nice orbs Static orb being the max one and that one being so close to max one. So that's really good. The final items we have left in here are the Townmaster items, which are unfortunately still the same as before. I still haven't been able to get a double critical damage bow, so I guess I will just have to wait until I can get the Townmaster rune and get a L or E tier bow for them. But this is the set I'm currently running. If you're running S items on your Townmasters and they are even half decent, it's definitely worth double runing them, because double runing S items is super cheap. It only goes one box to add the second socket and then another one box to add the rune, so that's really cheap damage boost for down after. It's really worth it. And this one also maybe needs to be reworked in the future, but 16.3% currently for the power up. So those are the items I currently have on the units. Some nice changes and something I really need to keep on working as well for the near future as well. Now, as you might see, I do not have a healer in my build currently, which is, well, it's really scary to be honest. So if you have trouble surviving and you need a healer, then, well, if you have the 13 slot, that will make your life so much easier. So if you want to spend a little bit of money and buy the 13 slot, then you can put Smith in there and call it a day. That's a really good, solid thing to do. But if you don't want to buy the 13 slot, then your options are pretty limited at this point. So you would need to drop either Hunter, which I still cannot drop because my cooldown is not low enough, or you would need to drop Angels most likely, or a Gold Hero, but you don't want to drop Gold Hero if possible, because you want to keep on profiting with the build. That is the whole purpose. But with the 13th hero slot, if you have that, your life will be much easier. You can also use Dark Eyes Wizard with this combination if you have the 13th slot as well. And if you are going for Devil Horn 4 in the future, then you might want to introduce some sort of an AoE damager in the build, in addition to just the lightning unit. So you might want to use Goblin, Poseidon, or Ice Sorcerers to just really be able to get rid of all the ground monsters ASAP. So again, if you have the 13th slot, then that's really convenient. You can put it in there. Or if you can drop Hunter, then you can place it in that slot instead. So that's what you probably want to do if you keep on using this build and going towards the Devil Horn 4. But Devil Horn 4 is much harder than Devil Horn 3, so you will need to farm a lot of, especially cooldown skill level +1 line items and strong items in general for your units. And if you're wondering why on earth do I have the Ballista in here, that's just because I'm currently leveling it with my crystal, so I'm trying to get it soon towards 10,000 so I get one more skill point. So I still need to finish some of these castle parts for some extra skill point, and they do take ages to complete. But yeah, it's also a work in progress. That's the reason why Ballista is in here. It does absolutely no damage, and it doesn't need to do any damage. It's not the purpose. The only purpose is here is for convenience sake, so I can easily keep on leveling it every time I hit 60 white crystals while I'm waving with this build. Oh, and well, the monster lab hasn't seen any changes since the beginning. Everyone is on lightning damage currently in here, except if they can't get lightning damage, then they are on critical damage. So that just applies to all of the monsters in here. So that's just the monster lab. No changes since the beginning of creating this build. As for the skill tree, well, as you can see, I have 147 skill points currently, and that's due to the fact that I have finished all the units that can be leveled with gold to level 10,000, so that gives you a lot of extra skill points so you can reach everything in here. But let's take a little bit closer look. So first of all, I have the full lightning tree in here, which is obvious thing kinda to do since we are running full lightning build in here, lightning downlauncher build. So everything in here is what you see taken, is what you need and what you want for the build eventually. I don't have these flying damage nodes taken. You can take them if you have extra points, but if you need something else, then you can sacrifice them, because you shouldn't be struggling against flying monsters with the lightning build anyway. And I don't have the assassin nodes because assassin is not in my build currently, so you don't need those nodes either. Then in, well, the summon tree, you will want to have these more monsters per wave, because that makes you get more profit per each wave, so you definitely need this for your gold build. And then the Slinger PS node, which makes Slingers one of the best crowd control units at this point, especially when they are geared with stun and slow items. So that's what you want from the summon tree. Then the physical tree is here for, well, strafe nodes in here, and also we have the sealed node in here for extra tankiness. in case we need to take a couple of hits, and then some attack speed for our slingers as well, which is kinda neat. This will be taken eventually, the haste node duration, because once you are able to drop Hunter, you will want to have this, so your haste buff from the Town Archers will be 1 second longer. So at that point you need this. When you are running both, you shouldn't be needing this node in here, so we can take other things instead for now. Going in here, we have of course the Town Archer section in here. By now you should know most of these basic things if you have been following this journey. If not, then the guides are linked in the description for the basic stuff. And in the ice tree, I have the pointed bone, which gives my heroes crit chance whenever Dark Skeleton is cast. This is a really handy thing, boosting your damage for your heroes and leader, and also the sword node, and then extra damage to slowed monsters. So whenever you apply slow through your items, then you will be doing more damage, and that's really handy. I do not have extra damage to frozen monsters because I don't have Dark Ice Wizard in here. If you have Dark Ice Wizard, pick this node. And you can also pick this one node. And if you have a lot of extra skill points, then you can pick these, but they are really on a lower priority. So mainly you just want to have the extra damage to frozen monsters if you run Dark Ice Wizard. But since I don't, that's what we have. And finally, I have just enough points to barely reach the poison tree. So I had just have the sword node in here so far. And I could take these as well when I earn a couple of more points, and that will also make me a little bit stronger, but that's just barely what I have enough for. As you can see, there are some bonus gold nodes on the outer circle that are not taken, and you should prioritize if you can, for example, like in here, get to the next sword node, for example. This is a better boost for your build than getting 2 of these bonus gold nodes in the outer circle. So prioritize getting stability for your build, power for your build, and then take the gold nodes. As you will naturally get most of them as you travel through the outer circle, and you can finish them later on. It's not a huge thing if you're missing a couple in here. So, what does the future look like? Well, the build has now done 1 million waves. Technically, you can keep on using the same build forever. You can reach Devil Horn 4 with this build next, for sure. It's gonna be possible. Of course, you will have to do a lot more Bone Dragon. I will have to do a lot more Bone Dragon to get better items, make the build stronger. So I also hope to see you on my dragon hunting live stream sessions on this same channel in the future as well. However, I think it's soon time to do some changes to CloudNacho's account, and I wanted to first reach 1 million waves with Lightning and Town Archers up, because I think that's a pretty neat milestone to do. But I think in the future CloudNacho will become a little bit more toxic. So I plan on going and trying how poison build works. So I'm gonna be trying a poison Town Archer build on CloudNacho's account next, and see how it runs with these levels at 1 million waves with whatever I have been able to get so far. So I'm a little nervous on how that will turn out, so if you are excited to see that, I hope I can share the poison build and transitioning to the poison build with you guys soon. But for now, I want to thank you all so much for following CloudNacho's journey so far. It has been an honor to be able to share this journey with you guys, and I hope I have been able to at least provide some useful information for at least some of you, so you can use it to your own advantage as well. It has been an absolute blast waving with this free-to-play account. I will hope to see you in here in the future as well. Love you all. Peace out. Stay safe, my friends. See you next time. Bye bye.